What's going on, everybody? So, allegedly, the Herta is going to be getting a rerun in version 3.3. I want to go over if I think that she will be worth it, personally. So, let's just go over it, right? First things first, immediately, I think that she is absolutely worth it, even as a rerunning DPS. Now, a lot of people say that DPS rerun is bait, but not a lot of people know exactly why DPS reruns aren't typically worth it. For example, what's his name? Dr. Ratio is getting a rerun in the second half of version 3.2, and nobody is recommending him because of a lot of different reasons. Power creep is number one. Ratio has been power crept. But another thing, this is actually more important. This is a bigger factor as to why he's bad than power creep. But the reason why is because Dr. Ratio is a single target damage dealer, and we're in the craziest AoE meta right now. Every single game mode in the end game is just mirroring pure fiction. It's crazy. So using a single target damage dealer is gonna be really difficult. If you main Face Shao, you're gonna have a hard time using her. You can still get by using Face Shao, but it's not optimal because of how hard AoE DPSs are being shielded. And this is where the Herta comes in. The Herta and Casters are easily the top two DPSs in the game by a landslide. And if you don't have casters, you're skipping casters, you don't have enough pulls for casters, the Herta is going to be a great opportunity for you to pick up a meta unit, a DPS, a really good DPS at that. You could try to save, but there's the fake collab and Finon and 3.4 if you want to go all in on those characters as well, like what I'm gonna do. But the Herta is still absolutely insane. First things first, her damage multipliers are through the roof, and by the time she gets power crept, every other DPS in the game right now, including casters, will also have been power crept. So what I'm trying to say is that the Herta will definitely help you out a lot. I'm speaking as somebody who doesn't really replace my DPSs too often. Jingliu, Firefly, and the Herta are the only three DPSs I've ever used in the endgame. I don't use every DPS. I have E0, S1 Facial, and Akron, but I've never used them in the endgame before. I've never used Sealy, and you get my point, right? You only need a handful of DPSs, and you only need to replace them subtly. You don't need to constantly be replacing your DPSs with better ones. So if you get the Herta, I'm not saying that she'll be a permanent crutch. She's not going to destroy the content forever because that'll just make the game way too easy. This isn't Genshin Impact, but what you can do at least is hold on to Herta for quite some time after you do get her. And I'm speaking as somebody who was still clearing all the endgame just fine, and I didn't bench my Jingliu until the Herta dropped. So the Herta absolutely insane, and I'll say this right now as well. The Herta is the only reason why I can max star all the endgame right now. I have her at E0, S0, but if I didn't have her on my account, I would be so far behind. You don't need to pull for all the meta units, you just gotta go for a couple at a time and you will be fine. The Herta, one single character at E0, S0 is all I've needed to keep up with the meta for 3+ patches now, 4 patches, however long ago when 3.0 actually came out. I can't think. But the Herta, absolutely insane. Am I saying that she is a must pull though? No. There is no such thing as a must pull unit in Honkai Star Rail. If you have casters, maybe you don't need the Herta. Casters without the Herta is strongly recommended to get. Of course, granted you can get her and her Lycone, but that doesn't mean that casters is a must pull. Robin is not a must pull. If you can clear the endgame, if there is a chance that you can clear the endgame without these units, then you don't need them. There is no such thing as a must pull. I'm not saying the Herta is a must pull. I'm not saying that you should get her, but what I'm saying is that you should strongly consider getting the Herta when she does get her rerun in 3.3, allegedly of course, but I'm strongly inclined to believe that she is because we've seen this leaked by oh shit, that voice crack, we're ignoring that, by the top leakers in the Honkai Star Rail leaking community. And we've never, honestly, like I said, we've never seen a DPS getting rerun so soon after they first came out. The Firefly got a rerun back in version 2.7. Her rerun wasn't worth it at all because Firefly can't keep up in AoE content. The Herta can keep up in most scenarios. She can keep up in AoE scenarios, single target, because when it comes to single target, the way that her interpretation stacks and the way it functions actually allows her to do a lot of, a good amount of damage even against one single enemy. Although in a single target scenario, I'd probably rather use my Fei Xiao, but still, the Herta overall is a really good unit, really well versatile, more so than Casterus in my opinion. You don't need a Lycone unlike with Casterus, and I could make a comparison video between the two, which I probably will do, but I think that the Herta is, you know, really good unit to consider if you don't already have her. And I'll say this right now as a way to end off the video, worst case scenario, you can still use her in Pure Fiction. You will always be able to use the Herta in Pure Fiction. If you have Argenti, you can still use them in Pure Fiction to this day. Himiko and 4-star Herta are 1.0 units and they're still functioning just fine in Pure Fiction. Jade is good in Pure Fiction. Pure Fiction is always going to be AoE centered. The meta doesn't really shift in this game mode, so you can use the Herta in Pure Fiction for a long time. Essentially forever is what I'm trying to say. It'll be a while before you replace the Herta as a Pure Fiction unit. And I'm speaking, you know, worst case scenario, the Herta falls off significantly in the meta. You can still use her in Pure Fiction. So if you do struggle in Pure Fiction, which I personally find it to be the easiest out of the 3 game modes because of grid value, but if you struggle in Pure Fiction, you can't max star it, the Herta is going to be a great unit to consider. But at the end of the day, that's it for this video. I'm not shilling the Herta. I'm not saying she's a must pull. There is a possibility that she could fall off. Highly unlikely that it's going to be due to power creep, but there are going to be 3 DPSs coming in version 3.4. 3.3 is a little bit of a grace period when it comes to new DPS releases, but 3.4 could see meta defining, you know, meta units that we have never seen before. Just absolutely unreal. We have no idea. Finon is going to be crazy, I'm sure of it, but I'm not too sure about the fake collab characters. At the very least, Finon I'm sure will be the next meta DPS, so if you want to save for Finon and go all in, feel free to, but the Herta is a great unit to have. Once again, speaking as somebody who doesn't replace my DPS units that often, I'm still getting by with my E0 S0 Firefly, but that's about it for this video. Just consider everything that I said, but I'll see you. Goodbye.